Locked On Avalanche podcast, and the Avalanche welcome their newest member to their hockey club with a 3-0 win over the Los Angeles Kings. So a lot to get to, including, of course, another trade made by Joe Sakic. And this one kind of saw this one coming, not for the player they brought in, but the player that they let go. We'll discuss it all. Let's get to it. All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. Kyle Sullivan is in the house. A lot to get to today. Another Avalanche trade. And they were on the ice, of course, against the Los Angeles Kings. Just finished a 3-0 victory. Double shutouts for Mr. Darcy Kemper. Man's on a roll. Guns blazing. Pew, pew.
He's a good goalie.
So we will get to all of that. But first things first, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. And follow the show over on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show over on our YouTube channel, over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And yes, we are recording these shows live in front of a live studio audience, just like Jerry Springer does. So we're going to start with the trade, and we will get to the game momentarily, but we are going to start with another Avalanche trade. And you can put a bow on the career for Tyson Jost with the Colorado Avalanche. And for a lot of people, this hurts. He was a fan favorite. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was always what could have been with Tyson Jost. And I think it just got to a point where it needed new scenery. It just had to happen. He's just one of those guys, just so up and down. Just there was no consistency with him, and it was time. Yeah. That's all it was. It was just time. and you know, a number one pick or a number one first round draft pick, you can only carry that title for you for so long. And I think, you know, they've had him long enough where they knew what they had in him. And that's all you're really going to get. So they trade him to the Minnesota Wild.
I don't feel good about it.
All the teams, I know. So they trade him to Minnesota Wild for Nico Sturm and another guy who probably just needed to have a change of scenery. So all in all, what's your thoughts on the deal?
Yeah, Jost was the one that you kind of anticipated being moved because of, honestly, his potential, where he was drafted, and the opportunity after opportunity to contribute and do something on that top line. And McNabb even talked about it in the Altitude broadcast. Like, they gave him the opportunity to be a top six forward, and he just couldn't capitalize, and he would just get lost in the shuffle in lines 3 and 4. And that's not what you want out of Jost. And I had a buddy of mine, as soon as that trade was done, he's a Minnesota Wild fan. He messaged and said, "Thank you for Tyson Jost." And I said, wait before you say that.
He's excited to have him?
Yeah. And I said, honestly, I think this trade was basically the same player both ways, but we're paying a little bit less because, Sturm, he's an established fourth line guy. You know exactly what you're getting out of him. You don't have to keep hoping for more like we did out of Jost.
Well, look what the Avalanche did in the two moves that they've made. They got bigger. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you're with Sturm, the production is pretty much the same as Tyson Jost, but he is taller and he is bigger body-wise. So that's what the Avalanche are looking to do. They are happy with their scoring, clearly. You know, there's no issues there. If you can add another scorer, why wouldn't you? And you know, we'll see what happens in the end with Claude Giroux or somebody else. But I feel like the Avs are, you know, they're not done. This is not their moves. Like, no, this is not their moves to say like, okay, you know, we've made our trade deadline moves. We're all done. Both of these moves are kind of to set up something else and something possibly big that could be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
And we'll know in the next couple of days. You free up a little over $1 million in cap space, which again, like we said yesterday, every dollar counts.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a guy that, it's just a 1-for-1 deal. There's nothing about this that is like earth shattering, and you're getting rid of a guy who was struggling pretty much, and you're getting a guy that, like you said, he knows what he is. With
Mm-hmm.
the Avalanche, it was always, can Tyson Jost break into that top six?
Yeah.
Can he do it? And on very rare occasions, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because of maybe there was injuries going on, or maybe he did have a hot streak when he had like a hat trick or something like that. But for the most part, he was, at this stage of the game, he's not breaking through into that top six. And for Sturm, I think he's happy just doing what he's going to do, and being a bigger body, and you get this pretty much the same production from him. So it just makes sense. It just feels right for right
Yeah.
now to me.
And I kind of feel bad for Stern coming in, not only because he had to wear that wild sweater for so long, but also the debut that Manson had, another guy that didn't have stats that blew you away, but
Yeah.
also was bigger. But then you see the contributions that he made last night in that game against the
Mm-hmm.
Kings. So now you're anticipating that same kind of, almost like it was even mentioned in the broadcast, and I saw it all over social media, the word refreshing many
Hmm.
times. And I wonder if you're going to get that same feel from the forwards now, with, like Hop mentioned, just 4 inches taller, but
Mm-hmm.
hey, a little bit of physicality never hurt.
No, and you look back to what happened with the Avalanche in the postseason last year against Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say they got pushed around into the, to make it seem like it was completely one-sided. It wasn't. The Avs, they held their own, but they got knocked around. They got bruised. They got
Yeah.
battered a little bit. And when we keep saying, like, you have those guys that they can, fight back, but that's not their style. That's not what they're meant to do. You don't want Nathan McKinnon constantly battling. You don't want Gabe Landeskog, even though that's a big part of his game. You want him to play his game, and when teams like Vegas could get him out of that, and it's like, defend yourself first. That's not really what you want. But when you bring in guys like Sturm and Manson, that's their game. They can
Mm-hmm.
handle that over.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could see it with Manson, and like in his first game with the Avalanche, he already hit his career high in hits. Like that's a heck of a day. That's a heck of a debut for like your first game with the Avalanche, and you're out there setting career high for hits,
What did
doing
he
what
hit?
we anticipated. Like that was gangbusters. And if Sturm can come in and just have just something close to a career night for just, hey, time on ice is also very valuable right now. So
Oh, we will get to time on ice, because that speaks volumes for what this move for Manson did. Volumes,
yeah,
and probably Sturm as well. So, yeah. Well, I didn't suggest an Uber. I suggested a Turo.
it's a
A,
very good service.
a Turo is a very good service. But maybe, I don't know. But Turo, you got to return it.
Or they
So
could pick
maybe
it up.
maybe can they?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. All
for
right.
an additional fee, they'll drop it off and pick it up.
Oh man, in these high gas price times, I don't know. It's an extra fee that I don't want to pay, honestly. But all right. So I mean, that's the deal. That's the trade. I get it. There's a lot of people kind of hurt, upset over it, and you get attached to certain players. You know what I mean? And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I always say, like, I don't have favorite players anymor.
Yeah.
Maybe Cale Makar is coming close, the closest I'll have to having a favorite player. But no, I don't, because players move around all the time, and when you get attached to them, chances are they're likely going to be moved at some point in their career. And I know a lot of people were attached to Tyson Jost, and he's a good guy, he's a good kid, he's great in the locker room, great teammate. But it was just, like I said earlier, it was just time.
Yeah, and I went through that with Stasny. Like, it was a foregone conclusion. There was no way he wouldn't leave the Avalanche, especially coming from
Yeah,
that hockey family.
yeah.
And when he left, that hurt. So I feel what everybody feels with the Jost move.
Hmm.
So whenever I'm like talking about Jost and it feels like kind of detached and cold, it's because I've already went through it with Stasny.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it was Adam Deadmarsh.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
to this Kings team.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was that one. I loved Adam Deadmarsh. So,
yeah.
all right, we'll get to the game because the game was played,
Hmm.
and another Avalanche victory pushes them over the 90 points uh, marker on the season. So, we will hear from Built Bar first, and then talk about the game. So. Have you tried the new Built Bar Puffs? And you know Built Bar, you know it, you love it. Best tasting protein bar in the market. And now they have these delicious Built Bar Puffs. It's the first ever protein infused marshmallow protein bar. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, and they are not just a protein bar, they are a treat and covered in 100% real chocolate. They are low calorie, high protein, so you can replace your candy bars with these because they're better than a typical candy bar, which can be anywhere from 2 to 300 calories. Most built bars contain 130 calories with 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Other candy bars, which usually have 200 upwards of calories, 300 grams of sugar might kill you. 30 grams of sugar and dozens of net carbs. So go to built.com right now. Use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Once again, that promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. All right. So yeah, Avs with the 3-0 win against Los Angeles. We'll get to our sound check in the next segment. I think, the first thing we're gonna go to is Josh Manson on this one because
Yeah.
he's your newest player. He comes in. How did he look? I thought he looked very comfortable after
Yeah.
just meeting the team maybe hours before puck drop.
And that's the thing you keep thinking about. Like, this is Manson, right? Like, completely fresh, barely knows everybody's name.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know the systems. He doesn't know how we set things up. You didn't
Yeah.
see him really on the special teams because he doesn't know about the infamous slingshot pass. So, like, can you just imagine what he's going to do once he gets a little bit more comfortable with how everyone plays? I think this is already a huge W for Joe Sakic just off what we see so far.
Mm. I put up on Twitter. I'm trying to bring it up here quickly. The NHL Network had a really good graphic up, and he
About
is
Tyler Jost.
yeah no, I can't believe they did that.
I can't either.
I mean, that's the NHL Network who got a player's name flat out wrong. It wasn't
And kept it up
it,
for
they
hours.
yeah, they haven't taken it down, have they? Or is it still up now? I mean, it wasn't on Twitter; it was on Instagram. I think
It
right.
was on Instagram and it was up for, last I checked, it was up for 3 hours
It's still up.
with all of the comments saying his name is Tyson.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't know, they put up the trade graphic saying that the Avalanche traded Tyler Jost. So technically we still have Tyson Jost according to the NHL Network. But they did have a good graphic up on Josh Manson is third in the league from dump in recoveries and exit rates. Now, what is
Mm.
that? That is when the opposing team dumps in a puck and your team goes and collects it and has a clean zone exit. He does that. We're going to round up 0.1% to 80% of the time. That's third in the league, only behind Nick Leddy and Tyson Berry.
Yeah, that guy.
So, I mean, that and how often have the Avalanche struggled to have clean zone exits from their defensive zone? A
Mm-hmm.
lot this year. The Avs are very good on a lot of things, but that they struggle with more than I am comfortable with. And there's been a lot of times where they are dog tired and they kind of just loosey goosey try to like get the puck beyond the blue line and it doesn't have enough juice on it and whatever team we're playing keeps it in the zone, and then you're in the zone for another 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and you're that much. It's a problem sometimes for the Avalanche.
Yeah.
So to have a guy that is pretty reliable on zone exits is a great thing, and you saw it. You did really see it. It's nothing amazing. It's not that he's making like these stretch passes that are going 3 lines or anything like that. He just is comfortable with the puck, and he knows where his guys are.
Yeah.
You could see it, especially in the first period. He was making just crisp, easy passes to his first read, and you get the puck out of the zone. Impressive.
Yeah. And Peter Baugh tweeted before the game talking to Manson about what he expects to contribute to the team. And he says he doesn't want to be seen. He wants to just do what he always does and help that team propel them to a win, was his quote. And you could see that with the play, and especially with an 80% conversion rate on getting that puck out of the defensive zone. And you can almost see it in the game last night. I honestly cannot remember the last time the Avalanche were that aggressive on a forecheck either. They were really aggressive on the forecheck.
All right, I'll have to watch it again. I mean, because there were specific things that I was watching in this game, but you're right. Yeah, well, they always are. Like when Achuskin's out there, and he was on the top line, against the Kings. So you're going to get a better forecheck when he's out there, especially in the top line, which is always nice to see.
It was very noticeable last night, and I think all of those components working together led to that feeling of refreshing for the Avalanche.
Yeah. You look at time on ice, and this is one of those things that we said he's going to do instantly. And like we said, he got off the bus and just met his teammates, and out on the ice he goes. So I think he had like a meeting, like a brief intervention beforehand, just like,
this is your locker room.
This is how we run things.
Don't feed Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah. Feed him the puck. Don't feed him carbs.
Nope.
Is what they're saying. He had 18 minutes and 41 seconds of ice time. It's what you want. That's kind of what you're bringing him in there for. And
so you're saying he hit career high for hits and career high for Curtis McDermott minutes.
Yeah, for Curtis McDermott with a whopping 6 minutes and 27 seconds, and he was playing a forward. So everybody, the only guy that was under 10 minutes of ice time was Curtis McDermott, and that's to be expected.
Yeah,
everybody else had at least 10. Abe Kubel was just over 10 minutes with 10 minutes and 4 seconds. But you look at this, and this is more of what you want, more of kind of like it's more spread out, and you're not putting all of the emphasis on those top 6 guys. You had Cale Makar with just shy of 25 minutes. So he was 24 minutes, 57 seconds. Even shaving 2 minutes off of his ice time probably feels like a vacation for him.
Yeah.
So it's what you're not seeing the Abe Kubel with the 6 minutes and the Tyson Jost with the 7-8 minutes. Darren Helm, 14 minutes of ice time. Burakovsky, oddly enough, he had 13 minutes and 19 seconds. Did he get injured or something that I missed somehow?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything. If
people in the chat know about that, please say something, because he's only had 13 minutes and 19 seconds, and I didn't really. I think I noticed him out there for the duration of the game, but I don't know. And to answer Hop's question about shutouts for Kemper, because that has to be talked about at some point, especially with the trade, that brings Darcy Kemper up to 4 shutouts on the year. And they're both back-to-backs, aren't they? Yeah, I remember the teams, but both of his shutouts have come consecutively. Not all 4. He had 2 and then 2. So, and then even Francouz has had, I think, 2 himself. So. And Adrian Dater tweeted out earlier today that it's going to be Darcy and Frankie from here on out. Yeah, dude. So I was never into they're bringing somebody in, just based on what's happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And when you had Grubauer and Francouz, when they were kind of going through like their struggles, it was a weird thing back then. Like one of them was always struggling and the other one was always playing well enough to keep you afloat.
Yeah.
And there was a time where everybody just all of a sudden fell in love with, I meant to say Darcy Kemper, Philip Grubauer, because of the one season he had. Everybody just fell in love with him, but he had his moments of struggles.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the duration of his Avalanche career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but Joe Sakic, what he said, he goes, I'm comfortable with these guys.
Yeah.
I think, they've just gone through some fluke injuries. And if we can just overcome that, we'll be good. And for at least for Grubauer last year, it was good.
Yeah.
And kind of based on those comments, I'm kind of like fast forwarding that and kind of inputting it into this year. I don't think when Kemper was struggling all that much, it was enough for Joe Sakic to really panic and say, we need to bring in a goalie. And I never really bought they were going to go look for Marc-Andre Fleury or anybody else that's really on the market, because I feel like I said, based on those comments, that's how Joe Sakic feels. And that's how he's going to feel about his goalies, unless they were playing god awful, which I don't think Darcy Kemper ever really was.
And even when in games where Darcy's had to be pulled out of the game, you don't feel at a disadvantage putting Frankie in there or vice versa.
No.
You don't feel like, oh boy, I hope we can hold. No, you have confidence in both goalies. And you still have that in the back of your mind that Justus Annunen is getting his time and he's getting seasoned and getting ready for whenever he does need to make that jump up. We're covered there too. We don't have to have your JoJo's come in or, Hutchinson. Does everybody remember that?
Yeah, remember that one? Yeah. Again, he had his moments, but not somebody that you're like, he's our future.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't really think that it was all that serious that the Avalanche were ever really looking at goalies.
No.
All right, sir, let's get to our sound check and songs that we handpick that we feel best summarize the action, in this case, against the Los Angeles Kings. Go for it.
One of my favorite bands, literally of all time, Motorhead.
See, I've never really been in, I don't know why. I'm just I respect the hell out of them.
It's the same reason like I like Primus for that bass-led riff. Mm-hmm. Same with Lemmy. Always cranking it up. Motorhead's Angel City. I want to eat dirt. I'm going to eat my shirt. Angel City, Angel City. It's a good song. All right. Shape Up.
Was it a single or is that like a deep cut?
It was on their 1916 album, I think it was.
Okay. See, I never really got into them huge, but I do. They're like Rush. Like, I just don't like the sound of Rush.
Rush, man.
But I respect the heck out of Rush because they're insane musicians. But it's just the sound. I could never get over Geddy Lee's kind of whiny voice that he has. I just don't like it.
Oh man, that's another one. I love Rush. Love.
I don't know, just personal preference. For me, I'm gonna go with "Bring Me the Horizon," and they have a song called "Kingslayer." Fits perfect, featuring Baby Metal. So,
Baby Metal. I love Baby Metal.
Yeah. So those will be up on the LOPN Soundcheck playlist on Spotify. So go follow those. And we've been having kind of some fun with the trades because we're doing them for trades. Actually, throughout the ones that we did for Josh Manson, we both did the same song title, but different artists. I did Hello from Oasis, and you did.
I did Hello from Lionel Richie.
Brilliant. One of the greatest videos ever made.
Oh, yeah.
For the younger viewers out there, if you've never seen Lionel Richie Hello, YouTube it after you finish this show. And that's what videos were like.
Another Alabama boy.
35 years ago. What's that?
Another Alabama boy.
Is he Lionel? Really? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, we did them for Jost too, but crazy ones for Jost. So just go follow the playlist. It's
Yeah,
fun.
that was Deal with the Devil because we had to deal with
That's true. You
Minnesota.
did. Yes.
Judas
So,
Priest.
and I picked a German song, which has a funny title.
Oh, it
you'll
killed
you'll
me.
you'll get it when you see it. All right. So for the rest of this game, getting away kind of from the Manson side of things, I mean, how do you take this? I think emotions were probably running a little bit high because, like we were saying, it was their first game without Tyson Jost, without their buddy, without their pal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have some emotion for that. They just don't. They're human. They know they have a job to do,
Yeah.
but it's not like they can just turn it off immediately. This is different for them. Like the guy where the locker where he normally sits. I know it's an away game, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's not there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had any impact. I mean, I think they played a fine game.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of back and forth. I mean, what were the shots on goal here? 27 for the Avs, 23 for the Kings. So not like this offensive outburst by either team, really. That as far as chances, but I think it was just one of those games where the Avs just did what they needed to do to get it done, and they know that they're a better team than the Kings, and the Kings are decimated a little bit with some injuries and younger players up right now, and they took advantage of it, and they did what they had to do, and you leave with 2 points.
And I think the thing that honestly kind of gets forgotten with the whole Manson thing, Val and JT scored those goals on the power play. The Avalanche were 2 for 2 on the power play.
Yeah.
That is 100%. So there was improvements all the way around.
I'm good at math, and I know that is 100%. You are correct, sir. Yes.
Big math guy over here.
Yes.
The Kings also were 0 for 4 on their power play.
Yeah.
So we killed off 4 penalties with the absence of Jost, a new face in the lineup, with all of this kind of ebbs and flows of the game. 100% on our power play, 0% for the Kings.
Yeah.
That's something you could really take away, especially with this long layoff. Get to really know Manson. We don't play the Sharks until Friday. I like Nuke being up on that top line, especially leading the scoring. JT's goal was it was a nice little tip. Way to be there. Mikko doing his Alexander Ovechkin. Congratulations on third, by the way, Ovi.
Yeah.
But doing that one timer to put it away, this was a really good win, top to bottom. And guess what? Just by a percentile, we won the faceoffs as well.
Yes, we did. That's 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row.
Everything we've been asking for out of this Avalanche team improved in this game, which the Kings have been surging up. This isn't your normal Kings team that you just kind of like, okay, whatever, and roll right through. You won, and it was commanding. You won in the stat column. You won in the score column.
Mm-hmm.
Carry this over against San Jose.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right with the Jost about, the one thing he did well was kill penalties.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing you could definitely rely on him to do all the time is kill penalties and draw penalties. He's really good at that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you did want to see how they would kind of react to, and LA is not good at power plays, so take it with a grain of salt, but it is a change. It's definitely a change. So I don't know. I think it was a little bit of everything. I think it was like kind of a lot of emotion going on. You saw if you didn't see it, Gabe Landeskog posted on Instagram just on his the stories or whatever. It was just him and Jost hugging like after a goal. And that was it. There was no comment. There was no text or anything like that. These guys are going to feel something. So yeah, I'm not saying it affected the play on the ice, but they're going through some emotions right now. Definitely.
Yeah, I saw that Instagram story and dust flew into my eye and I had to scroll right past it real quick.
Yeah, Hop. I'm thinking it's a no-brainer to bring the Chuskin back, and I think he wants to come back because he he's appreciative of the Avalanche giving him another shot. He was left for dead after Dallas wanted nothing to do with him. So I think he will be coming back, no doubt about it. In my opinion,
and he's a player that honestly you want back.
yeah,
He's
yep.
got a clear, defined role, and you don't get that top line for just being a scrub.
Right. And Hop also asks is if Cale Makar's within a couple points of the all-time defense total for the Avs, and I'm pretty sure he is. I think he's
Yeah.
two or I mean, what's he got for the season?
Let me pull up the all-time.
I think didn't like Ozolinsh have a fantastic season as a defenseman for the Avs? It might be him is my guess. I remember hearing that. And I don't know what the exact number is, but he's close. You're right. I think he is pretty darn close to overcoming that. He's going to get it.
Yeah, he's going to get it. Yeah, Sandis Ozolinsh, let's see.
It was Ozolinsh, right?
65 points, if I'm looking at this correctly. That's
well. Then how many is
Makar? Hold on. Let's see. Or is that just playoff defenseman? That can't be in the playoffs. 65 points in the playoffs.
No. Here, let me see. Okay,
no.
I got 68 for Ozolinsh.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
And then is Makar at 66 right now? Yeah, that makes okay. So yeah, he's only a couple points away from doing it.
Right there.
Yeah. And I have a feeling like he is going to set records that are going to be very difficult for any future Av to break.
Yeah, and you got Cale right there on that defensive scoring leader, and with the Avalanche hitting 91 points, it's really putting that all-time team record. It's right there. It's in grasp.
Yeah, definitely. And then Hop, we'll wrap it up with this. Hop wants to know Stratocaster or Les Paul?
Les Paul, because Fender's not a guitar.
Oh, you're one of those.
Mm-hmm.
See, I like the Les Paul. I like I just like the look of a Les Paul. But being an REM fan, I like the Rickenbacker, and a Tom Petty fan. Tom Petty was always big with the Rickenbacker. So
my first guitar was a BC Rich Beast. I always went for the extravagant, like crazy looks. Like the guitar I got now is a Dean Razorback, but like I like but I don't do Fenders. They don't sound good to me. So,
well, on that, we're gonna go drink our brandy and smoke our cigars after that comment. So,
Blacktooth grin.
Yeah. So for the Avs, 3 days off. Am I reading that right? Like, do my eyes deceive me?
Boys, we're playing mini golf.
Oh my goodness, what is happening in the schedule? Yeah. So they got nothing Wednesday, nothing Thursday. So they're playing Friday. So they got Wednesday, Thursday off.
Which is still nice.
So you got 2 days off. Yeah, I didn't think it was 3 days off. So and then another game against West Coast game against the Sharks. Remember when not that long ago when the Avs were kind of like in their little mini rut?
Mm-hmm.
And some Avalanche fans were kind of throwing their hands up in the air saying like, this is the end. You're kind of over that right now.
You got this Kings game was a prove it game where you can kind of figure yourself out a little bit. Mm-hmm. We might have Strom by the time of the Sharks game. You get to prove yourself a little bit more. And then another measuring stick game with the way Edmonton's been playing on Monday.
Yeah.
Edmonton's another game that you can really get out there, and it's a measuring stick game.
They haven't played Edmonton yet this year, have they?
I don't think so.
No. But here's the interesting thing. Claude Giroux, we keep saying how he wants to play his 1,000th game for the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
That's Thursday. Avalanche play Friday. Is Claude Giroux going to take an Uber cross country or a Turo cross country right after the clock strikes 0 in his Flyers game, his 1,000th Flyer game? And is there a deal in place and they're just waiting for this 1,000th game to come through and then he's heading out west?
Deadline's Monday.
I think it's happening. I do. I just get the sense that they have something set up and he just wants that. That's important to him. Okay, fine. I think if that's true, and they have a deal on the table. I think, the Flyers have shut the door and everything else. They've given their word to the Avs. This is what we're going to do. Just let him play his 1000th game with us, and then we'll announce it the following morning or something like that. If not, the Avs have something else up their sleeve that we're not even talking about. I don't know what it could be, but it just seems like all of the, the tea leaves are all pointing to Giroux. And I think they threw a little bit of a curveball with Manson, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's not, he was on the market, but you didn't really hear him connected to the Avs that much. So could they be doing the same thing? We're all throwing out Giroux, and could the Avs be, throw a curveball and say, well, we're going to get someone just as good for a better deal for us? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday. I would have never told you we're going after Manson. I would have never told you we're going after Sturm. Like,
oh yeah, no, that nobody saw that.
And especially like Jost being a piece, like you thought that was going to be a piece in the Giroux deal. So what is actually going on here? What else is on the table? There's a lot of questions going on.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting next couple of days. And we will be here to talk all about it. If anything happens, we will bring it up on tomorrow's episode. So that'll wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. That is always appreciated, and making it your first listen of the day. Go check out Locked On NHL. Make that your second listen of the day. Get caught up on anything going on around the league with other trades that might be happening other than our Colorado Avalanche. So until then, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, and I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.